People used to think that Fiji Veikoso, the golden voice of Island Reggae, could sing any song he wanted. But the truth is far from it. Throughout his decades-long career, there are songs that Fiji and many other Polynesian artists have never dared to bring to the stage. Fans have only heard about them through rare recordings or even through word of mouth. Some say that these songs were banned for political reasons because the content touched on sensitive issues in the island community. Others believe that Fiji herself voluntarily avoided them because they reminded her of painful wounds from the past. The mystery here is, why would an artist with a strong and distinctive voice like Fiji, who used to sing about love and national pride, be silent about certain compositions? The concert continued. The audience cheered and requested those songs, but Fiji just smiled, shook his head slightly, and moved on to another song. The question was never answered, but the truth behind it was much darker. And when we look at the bigger picture, we understand that those banned songs created a dark shadow over his brilliant legacy. But the truth behind it is much darker. George Veikoso was born in Fiji into a Polynesian family with a strong musical tradition. From a young age, he witnessed folk melodies resounding in festivals and family gatherings where singing was not only entertainment, but also the soul of the community. But his childhood was not entirely peaceful. When he was only 10 years old, his family moved to Hawaii in search of a better future. That change opened up opportunities, but also sowed in him a sense of being lost between two worlds. One side was his homeland Fiji. The other side was the strange America. In Hawaii, George quickly became drawn to reggae music, a genre that became the heartbeat of the island nation. He spent hours listening to records by Bob Marley, UB40, Lucky Dube, and then mixed them with rustic Polynesian. Relatives said that young George could sing so passionately that he forgot to eat, even mischievously turning folk songs into reggae melodies in his own way. But there was a quiet truth. From that very childhood, he knew what it meant to be forbidden to sing. On many occasions, his parents would whisper to him not to hum certain traditional songs with historically sensitive lyrics because they might displease adults. These memories planted a vague feeling in George's mind that not all songs could be sung, and that reticence, over the years, would leave its mark on Fiji's later career.
In his early years in Hawaii, George, now known as Fiji, began singing in small clubs and community events. His deep, soulful voice quickly made a difference. While many young artists were simply covering familiar Jamaican reggae, Fiji mixed in a Polynesian spirit, giving it a distinct color. Audiences called it Island Reggae, a genre that was both familiar and completely new. The turning point came when Fiji released the album Evolution in 1994. The songs on that album were an affirmation. He was not just singing reggae, he was building an entire school of music. Hawaiian radio stations began playing his music regularly, and Fiji quickly became a prominent name in the Pacific Islander community. But it was during this glorious period that the shadow of banned songs once again appeared. During some shows, Polynesian audiences chanted for him to sing controversial traditional songs. Fiji just smiled, shook his head, and then moved on to familiar hits like Sweet Darling or Indigenous Life. To his fans, it was just an artistic choice, but to those who knew better, it was a sign that he was avoiding things he couldn't say on stage. As his reputation grew, Fiji toured Hawaii, then California, New Zealand, Australia. He became the voice of a generation of Polynesians, bringing the island nation's culture to the world. But the more successful he became, the louder the questions about banned songs became. Why would an icon who dared to break international musical standards choose to stay silent before some of the melodies associated with his homeland?
Behind the scenes,
Fiji faced an undercurrent of pressure that few people knew about. His music was seen as a voice for the Polynesian community, but that also meant that every lyric and every melody was scrutinized. In the 2000s, as Fiji became increasingly popular, event organizers, even those with positions in the community, advised him to stay away from some songs with sensitive political and cultural content. One night, when the audience shouted for a traditional song with a protest message, Fiji paused for a long time. It is said that he bowed his head, his eyes sad, and then softly said, "Not tonight." That moment left many loyal fans speechless. Close friends revealed that Fiji was always tormented because he knew he was avoiding part of the truth. But if he spoke up, his career, even his safety, could be in danger. At the same time, Fiji began to struggle with his inner life. Alcohol and the pressure of work caused him to collapse several times. Some local newspapers reported on his health and canceled shows. But the public only saw an image of a cheerful, energetic artist. The truth was that, deep down, Fiji carried a burden. Songs he could not sing, lyrics he had to bury. And that burden became the darkness in his soul. In July 2025, the news of George Fiji Veikoso's death at the age of 55 shook the Polynesian community. Thousands of people poured into the streets of Fiji and Hawaii to pay their respects, lighting candles and singing his immortal songs. But amid the mourning, an old question arose. Would the songs he never sang on stage be heard for the last time? Fiji's relatives recounted that in the last months of his life, he was still sitting in the studio, writing music and recording a few demos. But there were notebooks of lyrics that he never showed to anyone. A close colleague shared, "He said that some songs were too dangerous to sing, but that was where he poured out what was hidden in his heart." These words haunted fans even more because they confirmed that those forbidden songs really did exist. On the day of the funeral, the crowd sang Fiji's most famous songs, like Sweet Darlin' and Morning Ride. But when someone softly hummed the melody of a long-shunned traditional song, the crowd fell silent. No one dared sing it out loud. No one dared make it an official farewell. Fiji had been silent all her life before such songs, and even in the final moments, the silence remained. After Fiji's death, his musical legacy became an invaluable spiritual asset for the Polynesian community. Friends and colleagues spoke of him not only as an artist, but as a soul who dared to bring the voice of the small island nation to the world. A young singer in Hawaii said, "Without Fiji, our generation would never have dared to believe that Polynesian music could reach the world." What haunts many people are the songs that have never been sung on stage. Will they be buried forever, or will they one day be released so that the world can understand more about his feelings? That question has yet to be answered, but perhaps that silence is also part of the message, that not everything can be said in words, and sometimes silence resonates longer than the melody. Fiji Veikoso is gone, but he is never gone. In every song, in every beat of the Polynesian drum, one can still see his shadow. He was more than just a singer. He was a symbol of pride, the voice of a people, and above all, he was proof that music can be immortal, even when the artist has been silenced forever.